One of the most important parts of a solid swing is to develop a solid foundation, that is your setup. Without a good setup, you're very unlikely to be able to hit a good shot. Some of the most important parts of your setup are your alignment, making sure that you're square to the target, your posture, making sure all of the angles are correct, your spine angle, and of course, your grip. Let's start with the grip. Here are some of the common problems that people can fall into. First of all, people can turn one or both of the hands around the shaft towards the target. This is known as a weak grip and is quite likely to cause a slicing type of shot. Another is turning one or both of the hands around the shaft away from the target. This is known as a strong grip and is quite likely to cause a hooking type of shot. Another problem that a lot of amateurs get into is gripping the club way too tightly. Now I'm going to show you how to construct the correct grip. Start with the left hand. Make sure that the grip runs on a slight diagonal across the base of the fingers of the left hand, starting at the second knuckle of the pointer finger and ending just below the first knuckle on the little finger, like so. When you wrap your hand around the club, make sure that the line formed between the thumb and pointer finger points approximately towards your right ear. When looking down in the address position, you should be able to see 2 or 2.5 knuckles on your left hand. Now, make sure that the thumb is not down the shaft like so, but snugly fitted up so it's not too far below the pointer finger on the left hand. There should also be a slight trigger in the left hand on the pointer finger. You'll see how this works a little bit later. Now, bringing the right hand into play, it runs on a slight diagonal again, just across from that knuckle, just across there like that. Taking the grip around, there should be a V or line formed between the pointer finger and thumb on this hand, and this should run parallel to the line on the left hand. Now, make sure again that you form a trigger on this hand as well. This trigger will be a little bit bigger. Now, this can give you a lot of feel in this pointer finger of the right hand. Now, there's two ways to unite the left and right hands together on the club. You've probably heard of the interlocking and overlapping grips. The interlocking grip is simply where the little finger of the right hand and the pointer finger of the left hand interlock, like so. It's going to look something like that. Overlapping grip, this is where the little trigger on the left hand comes into play. The pinky of the right hand overlaps that, like so, and it's going to look something like that. Now, they're both as good as each other, but Jack Nicklaus and Tiger Woods, two of the greatest players in history, use the interlocking grip, but most players on tour use the overlapping grip. The main thing is that the two hands need to be united together so they form one unit instead of being apart and acting independently. Just to reiterate, the V's or lines on your hands, on the left hand, it should point to your right ear. The V or line formed by the right forefinger and thumb should point parallel to that, so it'll point just slightly outside of the right ear. And the way that the V or line on the right hand is formed is this thumb should be placed opposite the forefinger on the grip. Okay, now the best way to practice forming a grip is by doing it at 45 degrees right in front of you like that. Make sure that the club face is directly pointing straight up and down, so it's exactly pointing at the target, and then take your grip like that. Now when you take your grip, make sure that there's at least the grip cap showing above the butt of your left hand. You can get into a lot of trouble if your hand is off the end of it. You'll lose a lot of control. Now, the extra pressure points where you should feel extra pressure in your grip are the last 3 fingers of the left hand. Now this is so the butt of your left hand is always pressed against the club, so at the top it doesn't come out, but those 3 fingers hold it in. Another place where you should feel just a little bit of extra pressure is the right palm pressing down onto the left thumb, and the trigger finger in the right hand should have a little bit of extra pressure there. Now the amount of pressure when someone tugs the club it shouldn't come free from your hands like this. It should, if it's pulled, it won't just stay exactly still, but if it's pulled, it should be able to slightly come out, but not come all the way out. Now when you look down at your grip, you should be able to see 2 to 2.5 knuckles, like so. If the grip is too weak and you can't see any of the knuckles, you're more likely to hit a slicing type of shot. If the grip is too strong and you can see 3 or 4 knuckles, like that, you're more likely to hit a hooking type of shot. Now, the other important part about the grip is that the left thumb is placed in between the meaty pads on the right hand. That way, you're much more likely to get the right line for the V or line on your right hand.